Lesson 28 is about repeat signs. So you probably have already done repeat signs. You know how those work. But specifically, we're talking about a first and second ending repeat, which you may have seen before, but if you haven't, I'll show you how that works. And then we have a new one called the da capo al fine, which is a completely different type of repeat sign that you might see in music from time to time. All right, let's start off at the top of the page by writing our name in. And let me just read this while you read along with me. When a composer wants a different ending to be played on the repeat of the musical phrase, he or she may use a repeat with first and second endings. All right, so these brackets here that you see with a 1 or a 2 are first and second endings. And the way this works is that if I'm playing here, I play measure 1, I play measure 2, I keep going to measure 3 and 4. When I get to a repeat sign, I go back to the beginning. So I play measure 1 and 2 again, but the second time I skip the first ending and play the second ending. So 5 and 6. It's very simple here because it's all in a very short amount of space, and a lot of times this can save a composer a lot of space in a piece of music, because if they want the whole thing to be repeated, but I just want a different ending, I can say play all of this piece and play this the first time, go back and repeat, and then the second time I can give you almost the same thing, but I can change the ending up slightly without having to rewrite the entire piece of music. Okay, so in this example here, this exercise, we're going to write out the following line as it appears without the first and second ending. So notice on my very first note, I'm starting with a pickup note. So let me write the pickup note. Okay, this is just basically copying what we have here. Notice my measure 1 is here. Then I'm going to write measure 2. So B flat, C, B flat, okay? Notice there's no key signature, but that flat carries through. Then I'm going to write my first ending, measure 3 and 4. So if I'm playing this piece, I would play measure 1, 2, 3, and 4 before I repeat. So let me keep going here. 1, G, F, E. Measure 4 is a G with a low A. Then here I would repeat. Where do I repeat to? I repeat back to the repeat sign, okay? So the F. So here, notice that I have the F, the first measure is already written out for you. The second measure is already written out for you. Now, what do I do after this measure? Okay, I've already played the first ending, so I skip the first ending and go to the second ending. So here I would just write out A, G, G, F. Okay, then I could draw in my double bar if I want to, but with the pickup being borrowed from the last measure, this one is, only 3 counts in the last measure. All right, that's pretty simple. Just making sure that you know how the first and second ending works. Once you go over to the second half of this lesson, we're learning about a different kind of repeat sign. When a composer wants the performer to repeat back to the beginning of a song, he or she may use a da capo repeat. So da capo is abbreviated DC, and it means to go back to the beginning or the top. So da capo, da cap, the top, okay? Then usually a da capo repeat, not always, but a da capo repeat will have you stop at the finish where it says fine. So if you see this, it says al fine, not fine, but pronounced fine, it means the end. So if you see a fine, not fine, but fine written in your music, you know that's going to be the end of the piece. So what happens when we play a da capo repeat is when we get to a section of the music, it could be most of the way through the music, and you see a DC affiné, that tells you go back to the beginning, play all of that again, but the second time through you're going to finish at where it says finé. Okay, so we're going to do kind of the same thing here. We're going to use the blank staff below to rewrite the first line as it would appear without a da capo affiné. All right, this is kind of mixed up because I made a lot of mistakes on purpose. Sometimes I don't make mistakes on purpose, but this time I did. So we're going to fix all of these mistakes as we're writing this out. Okay, we're going to start off by drawing a bass clef. And if you notice, there's my first mistake, is I drew a bass clef outside the staff. You definitely can't do that. Then we're going to draw a key signature with 2 flats. So here's my second mistake. This would be a B flat and an F flat. That's not how it works. It would be B and E. Okay? So your B flat and E flat would have to be there. Now, if you have a key signature, it also appears on every line. And that just kind of reminds you. So as you're reading music and you get to the 5th line, you might have forgotten what the key signature is, but it's put at the beginning of every line. Okay? The next thing we do is draw our time signature. And this time signature has a 2 on the top, but I left out the 4 on the bottom. So 2-4 time. All right, there's 3 mistakes already. I would draw my forte. That's not a mistake. It's just want to copy that. Then I draw my first measure. Now notice the first note is B, but I did the wrong stem direction. So this one is a mistake. I'm already up to number 4. So there's a B with a stem direction in the right place. It's actually a B flat. Okay, then I have my 2 eighth notes connected with a beam. Don't forget your slur. Okay, the next measure is correct. I don't see any problems with that. Next measure, let me just copy it. So I have 2 stems that are down and 2 stems that are up. It's kind of a personal preference thing. But now my slur goes all the way through. And then my last measure here, oh, what do you notice about that? That's incorrect. I'm in 2-4 time, but that's a dotted half note. That's not correct. I have to have a half note. Okay, not a dotted half note. Okay, dotted half note gets 3 counts. All right, diminuendo, double piano. All right, now my next measure, notice that I have, I forgot my fine. Well, I have a fine here, but I'm writing it without all of that, so I don't have to draw that in. My next measure here, B flat, B flat. So there's 2 counts. I don't keep going. I'm missing a bar line, so that's a mistake. And then my next measure, B flat, E flat, and then D. So what's wrong with that? So if that's an 8th note, then I don't have a complete measure. That really should be a quarter note. So that's another mistake. All right, so I keep going. Notice that I'm right here. I have B and A, which I already have written for me. And then the next measure, look how many counts this is. 1, 2. So this probably should be a quarter note without that. All right, so quarter note tied to a quarter note really is a half note. Okay? And then I crescendo. The thing that I do here that I forgot is that I need a bar line, so I left out a bar line. All right, I crescendo, and then I have a DC al fine, which means I go back to the beginning, da capo. So back to the beginning, I draw my first measure again. Ba, ba, da. With my slur marking. Ooh, you know what I almost forgot? My dynamic marking. Okay, don't forget your dynamic. All right. I'm in that measure. Notice that I already have that copied in. Then I just copy in the next measure again. Okay. I'm going to do this just for the heck of it. I can beam all 4 of those notes together. That looks even better. And then my last measure, I already fixed my mistake before. That should be a half note. And then I have a diminuendo down to pianissimo. All right, so there are a lot of mistakes on that one that I made on purpose. I promise you, I did that on purpose to see if you could catch them all. Okay, it's kind of fun just to be able to recognize when there's a mistake in music. Okay, or to know your music theory well enough that you can catch a mistake is very beneficial. All right, so if you have that down, you've nailed this lesson.